These last 6 months have been incredibly challenging. So much is changing, and yet there are some things that will never change. We need God, and we need each other. Today we hear from Jim Roche, who is going to share with us his experience going through the global pandemic and what this experience is teaching him about what matters most. So can you just say a little bit about the journey that led you to this place and to wanting to kind of get more engaged and involved here at Westside?
Sure, I'd be glad to. We really did search. We tried going to a number of the churches in the area, and increasingly it became really important for us to find a place, first of all, that was large enough and viable so that it could actually follow through with its missions, and that it had, the right kind of blend between caring for its members, in a very meaningful way with, enough viability to pull that off, as well as outreach. And it was quick. It was really easy for us to see that.
Yeah.
We had gone to some other churches where people would quiz you on what you knew about Scripture and the like, almost like a feeling out in a period, which wasn't that offensive other than the fact that it didn't necessarily come with the rest, which was, who are you? What are you about?
Yeah.
What are your needs?
Can you just say a little bit about, how you observed, your family getting engaged here and what they were able to receive and also give from their time?
Both of my kids were confirmed, at this church, and I think that the process, it's a lengthy process. It's an iterative process. It's a collaborative process. The kids go through it together. And I think the thing that was really, pretty amazing to me, because I didn't expect this to be the case, is that they really developed a real affinity for the other kids that were going through this path with them together. Really proud moments were when, both of them were having to explain why they wanted to take that next step. It was pretty moving.
Yeah,
I found them to be more articulate than I think I would have been at that age.
Yeah. Can you speak to your experience as individual, as a family, during COVID-19 and this pandemic, and how it's impacted you professionally, personally, your life?
I think it's hard to ignore what's happening worldwide or in the nation. And look, the church has done an amazing job of making that a central theme, in the sermons and just the initiatives, and that's helped. That's helped get us on the right path. For me, in many respects, it's been beneficial. I've taken 3 hours of commuting into the city and replaced it with a flight of stairs down to my office. But what I think's really struck me more than anything else is, we have it good. We've got a place for everybody to be. We can close a door and get the privacy. What's happening to these large families that live in small homes where they just don't have that? There's going to be a year or two maybe of lost education, lost advancement. Some people are losing their jobs. That's not happened to us. So, any modification on the margin that we've, had to make, I'd like to believe that we're aware that it pales in comparison to what a lot of other people are going through. Not that far from here. I guess we'll get into it at some point, I suppose. We had a health scare in my family that arose from this this pandemic. The very beginning of this this disease, we got a real lesson in our family about how serious it was. My mom, who's soon to turn 80, not the best profile to try to combat this disease. She got inflicted, and she was on a ventilator for several weeks, and the prospects didn't look too good. And so her recovery, she seems better than she was beforehand, is miraculous. And so you better believe that the conversations and those connections with her and everybody in the family feels this way. They're even deeper.
What would what would be your hopes and dreams for this new normal, and your prayer really for our nation, for our community, for our world? I mean, what?
Yeah, so there's a strong, sort of learning, from being a West Sider that, we're all in this together. You can't, go it alone, if you will. And, these are the kind of times when, you evidence that. You're supposed to, ironically, be distant from each other in some respects, but what are we doing? We're reaching out to people because we need it. Yeah. And those connections, I do think that they're going to be enduring. One of the things that I've noticed in my own profession is that, there are a lot of guys that got on the treadmill, and they just thought that there was no choice for them because it was competitive, and if they didn't, turn it up to the highest notch and start early and end late, that they were going to be left behind. And what I thought was going to happen is people would just rush back into the offices, almost to to get hero pay, you know, and it isn't happening. People have gotten a taste of more of a balance. Yeah. And I get these 3 hours. Yep. You could use that any way that you want.
Sure.
So more physical attention, get yourself in better shape. That obviously helps you spiritually. Yep. Maybe a little bit more time to do work the right way. And then also, more me time, play the piano, read a poem,
Do you play the piano?
Do a little bit.
Wow.
I'm not volunteering.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Now, you've also, you've gotten involved in the men's ministry over the last few years, and you're one of the small group facilitators. We call them stokers. Yeah. Can you say a little bit about, why you've chosen to invest in that ministry and what, you've gained and received from it, and how you see it kind of being an impactful ministry in our lives as men?
It's exceeded, I think, anyone that I know that's joins expectations, and I think that's why it's been so successful and grown and endured for several years now. It provides this safe haven for men to share in a way that they really can't anywhere else in their lives. And to me, it's a completely transformative experience. We're doing them for a long while on Sunday nights, and you'd be pretty gassed by the end of a Sunday, and you think, oh man, I got to get a cup of coffee before I go to this one. Yeah. And you just come out invigorated.
Is there anything that I didn't ask that you think it might be helpful for others to hear, or anything else you want to share?
People just need to give each other a break. Right now is the time to practice restraint. To give yourself and others the benefit of the doubt.
Wow.
We don't do that as often as we should. Yeah. And boy, you're going to look back on this time with a little bit more pride and a little less regret if you can try to check that tendency to take the anxiety and turn it ugly. It's now time to really just kind of hold back when you have something that's a retort or and listen to the other person more than trying to get your point across too fervently.
The choices we make today will impact the future we have tomorrow. Help Westside be the blessing our community needs.